As a ninja, you should know bushcraft and survival skills. Mostly because there are some times when you need to be for a long time on your own and maybe hide out in the forest or other places. Now these fallen trees are gonna be the base for my shelter. As I was walking around in the forest, I stumbled upon this green tarp, which I could use for isolating the roof and just make it more waterproof and warm inside the shelter. So I start to make the roof, and therefore I need some trees. And here I have my silky folding saw with me, which is a great saw. I really like it. It is lightweight and it is very sharp and very good. It is made in Japan, and it was not the cheapest saw that you could buy, but it is definitely all the money worth. And I have used it many times out in the field and I haven't regretted. And they come in all kind of sizes, from small ones to really big ones. And here I'm just using my cold steel tomahawk to remove all of the small unnecessary branches, especially because when I'm gonna set up the tarp, I don't want anything to make a hole in it, and that's the reason. Sometimes you can just leave the branches, but in this case I don't need them. Speaking about the cold steel tomahawk, it is very sharp and it is lightweight, and it comes quite handy when you're out in the bush and doing your bushcraft stuff. But if you plan to cleave a lot of wood, then you should definitely look for something that is heavier and have more chopping, cleaving power. When I was done processing all of the wood with my axe and my folding saw, I just took all of the trees that I needed and walked straight over to the base. Then I start building the foundation for the roof, and as you can see, it is very low, and that's my intention, because I want something that is not in your face. I want this shelter to look like a pile of trees just laying there, like someone has cleared the forest and just took all of the trees and branches and placed it on one spot. So I call this shelter the chaos shelter because it will look a little bit chaotic, especially in the beginning, but once it is done, it actually looks very good, and it is quite a stealthy shelter with a small entrance. I also like to try new things and not just do what everybody else has done, and you can definitely see this here, that this is not your typical shelter. You won't find this in any kind of bushcraft videos or books that you can buy. It is something that I just did because I found this place and I got inspired by it and wanted to do my own little thing. And since it was January 2023, the temperature was quite low, so I had to work fast, and also remember that the sun settles quite fast. Now I started at 2 p.m. and it got dark around 4 or 5 p.m. So there was no time for messing around and playing. The next step was to collect some fresh branches of pine trees, and pine trees are very good because they actually never lose their needles. They stay green all year long. Summer, winter, doesn't matter. And they can be a good material for isolating the roof or the whole shelter. Just remember, you need to chop a lot of them, also because the more the better. And now I'm starting to put on the tarp on top because I don't want to put it over the branches. I want to make this stealthy, so people should not notice that, hey, there's a shelter over there, because when they see a green tarp, they automatically will be drawn to that place and want to investigate it. So it has to look more natural, like, you know, it's just some branches of a pine tree. I also want to emphasize that you should not rush this process. You should give yourself the time that is needed to put on the tarp in a correct way. Make sure that there are no branches that could poke a hole in the tarp, because if it is raining or snowing, I mean, you could get wet and that could definitely ruin a good night of sleep. So just make it right. So now I'm actually almost done building the shelter. I put on the foundation of the roof, the tarp, and now I just have to take all of the branches from the pine tree and put it on top and try to isolate it as good as possible. Also, I don't want to have any unnecessary holes where small animals could get in, so I only have one entrance. And if I want and have the time, I can also make a door, but in this case I didn't, because I actually didn't sleep in there. I had other plans that evening, so I just wanted to make the shelter, make a fire, and eat some sausages. That's actually the truth. But I could sleep there, and if I would also take like another tarp or a blanket, so I don't sleep directly on the ground, because it was a little bit moist and wet, and you definitely don't want to get hypothermia, which is the cooling of the body, so that you get into a critical condition. Now I want to mention the importance of just trying to build these shelters even if you don't plan to sleep inside them, because training is the way to success. The more you train, the better you become. It is just like when you do martial arts. Now you can read a book about boxing, kickboxing or karate, but if you never try it for yourself, if you never take a class of martial art, you will never become good. Because you can have a lot of theory, but theory is not the same as practice. So just get out there and try it. Make a shelter for yourself, see how long it takes, see how hard it is. You will be sweaty, you will be tired, and you will get even frustrated. And try to make your shelters with tools like a saw, an axe, a knife, a machete, and then try to make a shelter without any tools, just with your hands. See if that is possible. Now you can see the shelter is done, and it is looking like a pile of trees and branches stuck together. It doesn't look like a shelter, and that's exactly the point. Now there was enough space for me inside, and it was warm and cozy, and then I could start making the fire so that I could make some food. In this case I just grilled some sausages, and they are very delicious. They are also very fast to grill, so I don't have to spend much time on making food, and I will get the necessary protein and energy from it. Sometimes when I have more time, I like to take a steak with me and grill it. Also take some normal kitchen gear with me and maybe make some rice, nice sauce or whatever it could be, just to have a nice time out in the woods or nature, and just be one with nature. I also want to mention that there's something special about making a fire and food out in the wild, in the forest, or because you spend a lot of time and energy collecting wood and making this fire. So when you make the food and it is ready, it is just a special feeling that you you feel like you deserve this meal. You worked hard, and I mean, if you are out hunting, it will be even more rewarding. So I hope this video was inspirational and informative, and that you learned something new. And I will try to upload more videos like this. I have other bushcraft videos that I will show if you're interested. So remember to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you have anything that you want to say, and subscribe and share. See you in the next one.